So I don't know whether it's working or not.
Oh, yeah, I have, actually, I don't know if you want to run it through so the ones that are on my website aren't on my YouTube page only because I have them hidden on YouTube so that people find them specifically on my website. If you know what I mean? Like, it's to drive traffic to the... So if you're having trouble finding clips, if you go to my YouTube page versus my website, that's why.
Okay, so here's your web page.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Yep. Let me see.
Also designed by me.
Let me see if the flashing thing meant it couldn't connect. So I'm not going to try to fix that. I'll just post it later.
Great.
And I'm just recording. So that means don't have to screw around. I can just start the show.
Oh, awesome.
But if I start the show with the music faded down, it doesn't work. Music's got to be up. Here we go.
Understand.
From the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Cary at the foot of Mount Belzoni, this is the Triangle Talk Show. And it is episode 65. It is entertainment. That's going to be a tough bar to cross. Title is Comedy Tonight. It is July 24th, 2019. I am Gary Pierce. I am humor impaired, which is just going to be awesome for my guest. I do have a guest. And we'll get right to it. The guest is John Poveromo.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks for having me. This is actually really awesome.
You have reached the peak of your career now.
Oh, okay.
You're in the Triangle Talk Show in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Cary at the foot of Mount Belzoni.
Right.
Feel free to ask what that means.
I'm done after this, so I'm just retiring. Who cares? At this point, you're right. I peaked, and now I'm out of here.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It's a triangle. Somebody told me the other day it was like, I don't like
it's a triangle.
3 points. Yeah. It's like Raleigh, whatever.
Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill.
Okay.
It's technically the triangle, even though we're in Cary, and Cary's bigger than Chapel Hill.
So do people disappear here? Is that what you guys call it? Is it like a Bermuda thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it originated with this thing called a research triangle.
Oh.
Which back in the 60s, IBM came here. There was empty space between Raleigh and Durham. They planted a factory.
Of course they did.
And things grew. And we've got these universities.
Okay.
North Carolina, Duke, and North Carolina State. They also make the triangle.
Okay.
So there's many reasons for the triangle.
Cool.
When I came up with a name for the show, people said, "Oh, it's going to be about musical instruments." Yeah.
Oh, people are stupid.
Yeah.
So by the way, am I allowed to curse on here or no?
Oh yes.
Okay.
This is we can be explicit.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure.
Do you want me to break the ice, or do you want to break the ice?
Fuck it. Just do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
There you go. No, we're good. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have to,
Yep. We're totally
fantastic.
Cable-ish.
Great.
The reason you're here is you're going to do a show. You're a comedian.
I am.
You are a comedian.
Yep.
It says so right here. Oh no, it doesn't. It didn't.
There we go.
I had comedian, and then I thought it might be more useful to give your website, johnpoveromo.net.
Thank you. And then they can figure it out when they get there. They may not think I'm one. By the time they may get there and go, you know what, I'll pass.
We may. So it said comedian, and then said, well, I'll just introduce you as one. You're doing a show tonight.
Yes.
So we're going to accumulate a giant audience.
Oh, great.
Oh, it would have been better if the YouTube Live had been working.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
We're not going to generate anybody until I post this later on.
No, it's fine. This is for posterity mostly, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You put this on your website and say, this is the best interview I've ever done.
It could be. I mean, so far so good. And I've never been to North Carolina before, so this is kind of, you're it for me. You're representing all of North Carolina.
Well, you were on Channel 5 yesterday.
I was. I forgot about that. You want to know why? Because I was fucking exhausted. I left New Jersey at 1 a.m. and got here in a half an hour before I had to be on TV. And I looked like absolute garbage.
I watched the interview.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was garbage. I looked disastrous.
Do you know who you were up against?
Who? Oh, Mueller.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to bump me. I really did. Because I was watching it too, and we were all kind of watching, and I was like, there's no way I'm fucking making it onto the air.
Yeah. but they're on their B team station.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
They got their Channel 5 station, and then they got which is NBC, and then they got everybody who's hit a roadblock on networks. But the Fox 50 station, which is also programmed by the WRL folks,
right?
They keep doing their own local news. So
okay.
Having two stations is a pretty good deal.
Yeah. My manager texted me and he just went, "You look tired." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I am. I'm fucking exhausted." And he's like, "Why don't you get some?" I know as soon as he said that, because I didn't even see it, I knew exactly how I was going to look when you saw me on. Like, I was like, "Oh,
you look fine."
Good. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. It was disaster.
I didn't prepare for it. I could dial it up, but.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah. So do you like driving better than flying, or is your career just doing so well you have to drive?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. It's both almost. I do love driving though. I mean, I really do. Like other than having to leave in the middle of the night, like I'm fucking fleeing the country. You know what I mean? Like that's always weird when you have to be somewhere and you're the only one out at like 3:30. Because I have to leave at weird times sometimes to make it, to another state or whatever.
It's kind of nice driving at 3:00 in the morning.
It is. There's nobody on the road. That's my favorite time to drive.
A few trucks.
Yeah, few trucks. Yeah, but they're hit or miss.
They're on Ritalin. They're doing fine.
yeah, exactly. They're awake, kind of. I swear to God, there were points last night, the other night, where I was just falling. I knew, like, I think I woke up at a red light, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And I was just, you know what I mean? When I was like, "Oh my God, how did I?" But I'm apparently subconsciously, I'm a great driver. But I know that sounds frightening.
In your own mind.
In my own mind, yeah. Hey, there's no nothing.
I've discovered a way to help keep myself awake without taking the drugs and stuff.
Okay.
I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
I just eat candy.
Oh, candy?
Yeah. As long as I'm sucking on a mint or doing something.
Yeah, gum will do it a little bit for me. But everything is like Twizzlers every now and again. My friend and I, we got on the road. We like have a big bag of Twizzlers in the middle of us, and we're trying to chomp on that when we're driving. But eventually everything makes me sleepy. Coffee, even coffee. Like there's like a caffeine limit I'll hit where I could, no matter how many cups of coffee I have, I can pass right out immediately.
Yeah.
Like there's just, I'm usually pretty like up anyway. So, kind of adding that kind of shit to it. I try to steer clear of like caffeinated drinks with sugar because that's when the crashing starts. 5-hour energy is good though. 5-hour energy is literally like somebody holding you up and moving you like a marionette. Well, that's what it feels like. It feels like as soon as I pop one of those, no matter how tired I am, my eyes are just like boink, and like the rest of me is just like I want to lie down, but my body won't. Whatever it is won't let me.
So you'll be taking one of those, drinking one of those just before the show tonight.
Oh, sometimes I do. It depends. My friend and I will have a tradition where we'll chug one because no matter what, we're driving forever. It's like a 10-hour thing. First time we get there, we do it, but like. That'll like, you can just tell, like, I'll start to like, I'll get the jitter. She's great with it. She'll take it and it hits her just right. Me, I'm like, my heart's about to bust through my fucking chest. Like, so yeah. So I always sometimes I'll pre-warn the audience, like, hey, listen, if I drop, it's not part of the show. I'm going into cardiac arrest.
Do call 911.
Yeah, please. By all means. I'm not a physical comedian, so.
You look fine on Channel 5 or Channel 50.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I didn't notice that you were falling asleep.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But I did watch it on playback.
Oh, okay.
On the YouTube TV playback. Because I was watching Mueller.
Yeah, I was watching Mueller when I was on, so it doesn't even like it. I was like, yeah, anyway, right? Yeah, I'm going to be in town. And then I was like kind of eyeing the screen to read the thing. That was good. So
what kind of a show do you do?
It's just mostly props. No, I don't. I have a no. It's not props. I talk about
ventriloquism.
Yeah, ventriloquism.
Dummy.
Yeah. I'm the dummy though. It's weird. It's kind of like a reverse situation. I bring in the wooden doll and then he sits there and then I talk.
That makes it a lot easier because you don't have to worry about lips not moving.
That would be a cool idea if I just brought the dummy out and then it was like, okay, that's my handler. He stays quiet though. I talk about everything and anything I feel like talking about when I'm on stage. I know that seems like oversimplifying it, but like I have my jokes and a set of ideas that I want to talk about, and then I like to put stuff in the middle of that. So it really just depends on my mood and how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah,
so whether I want to be heavy into relationship or whatever, or just outside.
Yeah, so I was doing my extensive preparation for doing the show.
Great.
About 10 minutes worth.
Yeah.
And watching a little bit. One of the things that comes right up front is that you like to do stuff that you invent in the middle of the show.
Yes. I like to be in the moment. And so whatever happens, because like, so I'll do my jokes that I have or whatever, but I really do like to engage the audience, and some stuff is set up in a way that I get to engage for a little bit. And I always have my regular stuff I've written that I know works or whatever. But then there's like a short span of time in between where I get to see what's up with the people in the front and how it's going to go, and if I can expound on that. And if not, then I go back into what works.
Is that scary, or no. And do you like to live scary?
I do. I like that's what makes it fun for me. If I keep doing the same thing, which we all do, all comics have their set, their routine or whatever, but for me, what keeps it fun and entertaining is I never know what's going to happen for each show. And I get to do that because traveling on the road and stuff like that helps me keep sharp. It helps me write more. I like to write on stage, so it helps me write the material, that kind of thing too. And then, when it's time to do a special or, a TV spot, then I stick, then I do what I know, boom, boom, boom works. But for now, when I'm on the road, I get to play. It's my time. That's how I feel about it. As long as I'm not going to, the audience is having a good time. That's the most important part too. But also, it's me.
Do you deliberately get into or stay away from the political stuff these days?
I deliberately get into it, but I don't do it. I'm not there to soapbox it. You know what I mean? I don't ever talk about. I don't ever disparage people when I'm on stage. Even though it depends on it's kind of funny. Depends on what city I'm in. If I'm DC, New York, I know I can kind of go hard on Trump and stuff. You know what I mean? And not have to worry about it. But if I'm in like the Midwest or whatever, and I don't know what town I'm in, I kind of want to live. So, I really, but I still do the same joke, like the same political material. I just approach it differently so that I can ease them into it. You know what I mean? I want to make them feel like we're all in this together, even though we're not, even though they're ruining the fucking country.
Okay. So we're getting an idea which way you're coming from.
Oh yeah. If you didn't know before, I'm completely anti-Trump.
Okay.
You can just look at me and realize I have no money, so there's no tax break for me. I don't own a Fortune 5 company.
There are comedians now on in the big time, the late night guys, all anti-Trump. Yeah,
they are, because I don't know. I didn't research you, by the way, so I feel bad. I mean, but I don't know which way you lean. But I'm assuming anti.
Way over here to the left.
Great. Fantastic.
You're right,
good.
Then we can.
Then we're in our safe spaces.
We're in comfort zone.
Which I also, I'm not a fan of safe space either. But I'm a weird mix where I'm still a very liberal, but I don't buy into all that other bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to be a progressive and not completely.
They have a strange language.
They do have a strange language.
I got involved in some progressive groups recently, and discovered some new language that I hadn't found before, and I got comfortable with it. But it's like, as we're introducing ourselves, I'm Gary Pierce, and I identify myself as male.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird. That's another thing that I don't. I mean, I'm whatever makes you happy. At the end of the day, I just don't like when they demonize somebody because they're not well adept to whatever the vernacular is at the time. You know what I mean? Like it seems to be very quick to judge like that, and I think people need a minute to reassess. So like for instance, if you didn't know it, and they decided to be like, oh, you're anti. It's like, how about you just give me a fucking second to breathe here and stop jumping down my throat. But the end, I'm decidedly anti-Trump.
Yeah, and the other thing that is giving me some heartburn on the progressive side is the young people in college who try to squelch all other expression. Yeah,
that's a problem too. Look, they're not. The college scene is hard to deal with and stuff like that, especially as a comic and whatever. Just because they think jokes are statements. They don't take them as just jokes. So, and when you're a comedian, the thing is sometimes the wrong thing is the funniest thing. Always. And it's, but it has to be taken. You know what I mean? It can't be taken seriously.
Yeah, Bill Maher has made his career out of that.
Absolutely. Bill Maher, Louis Black, John Stewart, like all the Bill Burr, Dave Attell, any comedian, any comedian, even Seinfeld, you know what I mean? Who just mostly does observational humor. But if you look at, some of the stuff he does, he's got stuff in there that probably wouldn't be too PC. according to some fucking 20-year-old with no life experience. You know what I mean? Like that's a bummer too. And I remember feeling that way. I mean, we weren't that it wasn't this bad when I was in my 20s or in my teens. But I remember feeling that way growing up too, because there was always those people have always been around. They're the same people who used to try to get The Simpsons canceled. Remember those nut jobs who would be like, but they were on the right side for some reason. The right came full around and the crazies went to the left as far as free speech and shit goes. Because it used to be that the right side of the aisle were the ones writing letters, trying to get funny shit banned or canceled, or trying to demonize people for their sexual behavior or anything like that. And now it seems to be on the far left.
Well, I think both extremes are still doing it. Or both extremes are doing it now. The right hasn't let it go.
But the weird thing is that the right seems to be more full of shit about it. You know what I mean? Because they love Trump. Now the right, you realize, is just about power. Because the religious right is still like, here's a list of shit that we won't tolerate. But you realize they won't tolerate it from the left or from anybody that's not making them money. Because Trump is all those things they fucking hate. But they vote for him. They vote for him and they accept him and they say he's a gift from God. You know what I mean? Like that God put him in that situation. But, anybody from the left doing that kind of shit, they thought Barack Obama was the fucking Antichrist and he didn't do shit.
Yeah.
And he was more of a centrist than a liberal at the end of the day.
Is it just hypocrisy on their side?
It totally is, 100%. It's hypocrisy because they have so when Reagan was president, they wound up that's the first time they tapped into the evangelical market because they realized there was a group of people that wasn't fucking voting and nobody was appealing to them. And oddly enough, Barry Goldwater was the one who warned Reagan against these people. Because at some point he had a moment of clarity after his son came out as gay and he kind of got to understand what was going on as he got old. It's the weirdest thing because I'm not a Barry Goldwater fan whatsoever. He said some fucking heinous shit. But towards the end of his towards the end of his career and when his son came out and all this stuff, you did see him do a 180. And he warned Reagan and the Reagan administration about bringing the evangelicals into the Republican Party. And he 100% said they would destroy it and there's no reasoning with these people. And they were like, well, we want the votes. And then so ever since then, they've had they've had control of that party. And to the point where we are now, where it's just misinformed, fearful, money-grabbing, group of people who are now in control of our government.
Yeah. But the evangelicals are not even sure how to describe what they're doing. They're giving Trump a total pass.
100%.
They know who he is.
Yeah, they know who he is.
And it's okay with them,
right? Because what they're doing is, they're purifying, to quote, the people that they disagree with and they don't like. It's always been about white people are allowed to do a list of shit that brown people are not, or that liberals are not.
Well, I enjoy that.
I mean, we all do when we're white, Yeah. I don't have any. Yeah, same thing.
I'm enjoying my privilege.
Are you? I don't know. Yeah, I guess I should be doing more. I don't know.
I'll do the Reddit /s. Okay?
I get to talk to cops however I want, so that's pretty cool without getting shot, right? That's not bad.
As I'm getting older, I get to. When I was a kid, it was still a problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well,
I get pulled over now, and I'm still just like, come on, man. You know what I mean? I'm like, can we just cut the shit? And I have a PBA card. It's a long story.
PBA card?
Yeah, that's a Jersey thing. It's like a cop mafia thing. They give you a card that says that you have a cop in the family, and you just hand it to them. And it really is kind of a shady thing, man. I have my driver's license, my PBA card, and my registration. So the PBA card's in the middle. Hand it out the window, and never make any mention of it. They flip through, they see it, and they're like, "Who'd you get this from?" And then you're like, "My uncle, stepdad, whatever the list of people in the family is." And then they go, "All right, well, be safe," and then they just hand you the card back.
So I guess the best we can do here is the Police Benevolent Association sticker on the back of the car.
Oh, that's the PBA.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Police Benevolent Association. I'm sure you guys have the cards too. There's that in FOP, Federal Order of Police.
Yeah. Since I've never contributed, I've never gotten one of those cards.
Oh, I never contributed either. People give them to you. Cops like to give out their fucking shit because, it's a power trip.
Yeah. By the way, police.
Just tell them you know me.
I love you.
No, me. Well, yeah, they're good. They're great. Some of them are nice.
It's like Trump says. I'm sure there are some nice.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sure there's. I know a handful of cops that are super nice, and even as I'm saying that, they're pretty fucking racist. You know what I mean? Like they're really nice people, but they have no idea that that some of the shit that they say is inappropriate.
99% of my experience with real police is not real police. It's television police.
Oh, I know. I mean, they're all great on TV. Hey, listen, every character that's a cop or a doctor or a therapist on a TV show, I fucking love. And that's why it's just fiction. You know what I mean? Because it's written as the people we'd like them to be. And then in real life, the doctor is fucking looking at the screen and not giving you the time of day. The therapist is a moron, and the cop wants to just gun down anybody that's got a tan. So, you know, I'm sure I'm going to win some people over. And no one's coming to
I was going to say, you know where you're going tonight. And
I do.
I should have mentioned this a little earlier when you were talking about the kids and the students, because Chapel Hill.
I know. Right.
University of North Carolina. There are only going to be 29,000 kids surrounding you. Yeah,
no, I know. Well, that's great. I did the radio thing over there. It was fun.
Yeah. Which station were you at there? WCHL or UNC?
UNC.
Okay. That's
UNC.
That's the public station.
Oh, okay.
That's the big public station. I freelanced for them a little bit.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it was really nice. This girl, Hannah, interviewed me. She was awesome.
Okay. So because you were going to be there at 2:00, and they don't have a local show at 2:00, so they must have recorded it and cut it up.
I think they did, yeah. So it was fun to do.
Yeah. They interviewed me one time on the phone for a different thing before I would freelance for them, for a ham radio thing that I'd been involved in.
Oh, cool.
And they took all the worst stuff that I said.
That's
because I thought I was being appropriate. I was being truthful. We're mostly old white men,
right?
And that's the part they used.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I know. I've done a couple things like that where, it's funny since I've been doing stand-up for 15 years, and before that, I never quite understood what. And I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, but you know what I mean. Like I've never really understood what celebrities meant when they were like, "Oh my God, that article took me out of context," and they said the wrong thing, and I'm always like, "Get the fuck out of here!" You know what I mean? Like that's. Yeah, and then after doing I don't know how many interviews and shit like that, I'll go some of them, not all of them, but I'll go back and read, and I'm like, I said none of this shit. And thank God they're not like really getting super in depth with me at this point too. It's just about, but I mean, where I was born, where I was raised, that kind of shit, just fucked up completely. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Because none of that's me. Like, but they'll print it however they want to do it, wrap it up, my picture's there, and I'm like, well, fuck it. It's not my problem after that.
So let's do some standard interview stuff here.
Sure, do it.
How did you get started in comedy?
Well, let me tell you, this is going to be riveting. I got started in comedy when I was 20. And
late bloomer.
I know, right? I should have been doing it at 16, 17. I wish, man. That would have been great. I would have had at least 5 years in to fuck up without anybody posting it on the internet.
Well, not today.
No. Well, that's what I was saying. When I was in high school, man, I graduated high school in 2004. So Facebook came out in 2004 or 5, I think, right when I started college freshman year. That was when Facebook came out. So there was no I think there was YouTube. I'm not sure.
There was YouTube. It was pretty sketchy.
Yeah. It wasn't anything
hard to get stuff on.
Yeah.
And didn't play very well.
Right. And nobody was posting videos on. There was no Facebook to do that kind of shit or Instagram. So, and then so before that there was nothing. So that's great. Yeah, I started. I dropped out of college and started doing stand up because I just hated it. I didn't belong in college at all.
What were you studying?
English and poli sci, and I didn't want to be an English teacher. I wanted to write. I thought that was cool for a little bit. I always wanted to do something like that, and I thought that was the way to do it. But I had an English teacher who wanted me to submit to magazines and stuff like that because I basically. It wasn't even an English teacher at that point. It was because I got to do whatever I wanted regarding English or whatever. So I took some kind of advanced creative writing class or whatever. So we got to do all this shit. I wrote a couple things, and she was helping me to submit it somewhere. And
so you showed promise.
Yeah, but it didn't. I still didn't give a shit about it because I was just like, you know what I mean? Do I really want to be stuck inside, writing all this time and blah blah blah? And then politics seemed sad to me. So I was like living that every day in and out. And the comedian seems, so to me, a comedian always covered a wide variety of things. Because look at Robin Williams, I'm not saying that's going to be me, but I'm just saying their title encompasses so much.
There's room now. He's gone, so.
Well, I know. Yeah, exactly.
Spots open.
What?
You going for it?
No. It's too big of shoes. But he's so, comedian, actor, writer, director. You know what I mean? Like, look at comedians over the years; they do fucking everything. So when I was in high school, I never said I wanted to be a comic. I let other people say it for me. So because I was too scared to be like, yeah, that's me. Because then immediately, as soon as you announce you're something, people want to take it away from you. So I didn't want to be that guy. Oh, this guy thinks he's fucking funny, whatever. So I was just me. And then everyone else was like, oh, you should do stand-up. You're really funny. Like, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, thanks. Whatever. And I said I wanted to be a cartoonist, which I did at the, when I was a kid. And that was my brilliant fallback plan, was to make no money in the newspaper business.
So let me interrupt briefly.
Sure.
Along the same line, just show something from your website.
Oh.
This is actually your merch site.
Oh, yeah.
And it's your logo.
Yep.
And for the audio audience, this is a little timeline of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, this is probably taken from that thing of the dawn of man.
Yep.
And through the
little evolution. Yeah.
Okay. So there's, looks like probably it's your mom or your babysitter. I don't
My
know.
mom.
Who do you want to throw under the bus here?
I would say I said my mom. She was a little happy about that one. She's like, I did not drop you. And I'm like, Mom, relax. It's a cartoon.
So drop the baby on the head.
Yep.
The baby starts to crawl.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a little older, is walking. The student with the backpack looking at his iPhone.
Yep.
A businessman
Mm-hmm.
with the briefcase.
Yep, with a finger gun pointed to his head.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then the businessman is throwing the briefcase over his head away.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's you shouting into the microphone.
Yep, fully formed hair and all.
And that is available on coffee mugs and T-shirts.
Yep.
And
yeah, coffee mugs, T-shirts, whatever you want to get it on to just support me and my life.
at John Poveromo, POVEROMO.net. Couldn't get .com?
I have .com.
Okay. Why did you go with .net?
So I had .com a long time ago, and then much to whoever purchased it chagrin, I didn't pay for it in time. And I guess I had
warehouse somewhere.
Yeah, and I guess however you figure it out, like they figured out how many people were going to it, and I guess it was enough in their mind to assume that I'd want to pay top dollar to get my name on the .com back. And I was like, nope,
screw you.
Yep, exactly. So I got .net, and then but then eventually
I found it.
Yeah, oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, and then eventually they gave it up, and then I purchased the .com. So now I got .com and .net, but the .net was around longer, I guess. So I use that on everything.
Yeah,
and I like .net. It's fine.
Yeah, I've got I got the .com for Triangle Talk Show because for some reason nobody wanted that.
That's a good get.
Yeah, my previous show, I got the .com. It was the ham radio show called Ham Radio Now, but I advertised it as hamradionow.tv, which I also got because it was a YouTube show.
I don't know what .tv is, so I understand it, but I that was relatively new to me when I was getting all that stuff, and I was like, well,
what it really is the island nation of Tuvalu.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, I have no.
South Pacific someplace.
I thought you were making that up.
Yeah, and they make some money off of that .tv thing.
That's fucking hilarious.
Because there's probably 50 people there that live there.
Well, because you know how many people think it means in show business, they probably mean it thinks television, so they're like, oh, I got a .tv website, and it's like, nope. Yeah.
So
that's hysterical. Yeah. Now I want it even more.
Well, got to do a TV show.
Yeah, damn it.
So you got dropped on your head, or not?
Yeah, or not. Probably not.
The jury's out on that.
I think they were careful. Yeah. I didn't have the shield that I have now back when I was a baby.
So everybody thought you were funny as a kid.
Yep.
You should do stand-up.
Yep.
Did you feel funny?
Yeah. I think I felt funnier then than I do now.
Yeah. So I think as I'm paying attention to myself across my life and in groups of people where I'm always uncomfortable, I make people laugh fairly heartily about once every 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
That's not enough.
No, you're going to need to pick that up if you're going to be a stand-up. I think about every 12 seconds. That's you got to increase it too. But it's like running. You'll pick up your pace.
I've noticed that I come up with that stuff, and I can't come up with it every 12 seconds or a couple times a minute, but I can, and it's unbidden. It just in the head there.
Yeah, it's refreshing to have somebody admit that they're not that funny though, and that they're just because you know how badly people want to be funny, and just you know what I mean, and like. Just like
I badly want to be able to do good interviews, and I can't do that either.
And this is great. No, you're doing it. You got a good voice for it. I'm calm. I'm at ease. I'm almost comatose. So
that's my goal.
This is if it wasn't for the caffeine coursing through my veins, I'd be asleep. No, it's cool, man.
So this is going to be a great show tonight.
This is very relaxed. Oh no, it's always. You know what's cool about that though? No matter how sick I'm feeling or how tired I am, The minute I hit the stage, that all changes for the amount of time I need to be on stage. And then afterward, just like dragging me away. But I had the flu in Michigan once, and I had to do 4 shows. And literally between, the point where I was off stage to going on to coming off, going on and like right before going on stage, you thought I was dying. And then hitting the stage, perfectly fine, having a good time, running through my shit, having fun with the audience. Leaving the stage, huddled in a corner, glass of tea, like shaking, trying to take my Thermaflu or whatever, Terraflu or some whatever the fuck they have. And then same thing, 4 shows, just banging them out, but dying in between each thing. And people who are on the staff are like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, no. Adrenaline or whatever.
Yeah,
goes course this year.
I need for like just to make sure that they like we're all good here. You know what I mean? And then kind of towards the end, I would tell them that I had the flu because I would probably also want to wonder why I don't want anybody to meet me. You know, whatever, like shake my hand. So I'm like, "Here's a heads up, I'm dying. This is my last show." But they were cool with it. They were like, "I can't believe you have the flu," and I'm like, "Me neither."
So when you're feeling okay,
right?
There's still some of that though.
Feeling sick?
Yeah, 24. No, not feeling sick. Feeling different when you're on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I heard somebody describe this. One of the Walendas, the tight wire guys.
Yeah, of course.
Their line is, when you're on the wire, you are alive. Everything else is just waiting.
Oh, that's really nice. I love that. It's cool. I wonder if that's where, because a lot of these guys, you'll hear it in Springsteen songs, in like Counting Crows songs, and hearing other people describe it too, is performing as this live wire act. And they'll always say something along the lines of "you're out on the wire," lighting it on fire, like that kind of thing or whatever. But yeah, it is. It's exactly that. It's like you're out there. It's a fucking rush of adrenaline. And it's so much fun to just do it. Even if you're bombing, even if you're not doing well. You're just it's cool too because it's not, you do it so often, it's not life or death. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna walk off stage and there's gonna be another show or whatever. So it's just fun.
There may be another show.
Yeah, who knows? At this
point, it's bad enough, often enough.
You know what's crazy? When you're first starting out and you don't have the ability, like I now have shows booked well into whatever. So it's always, it's good to have that if you do have a bad night where you're just kind of like, oh, just fucking Christ, I can't believe I'm in this bit. You know what I mean? Like, why am I performing? But then you got 25 something shows coming up and you're like, all right, I'll get them again.
Yeah. You were telling the guys on Channel 5 to prove that I was watching Channel 5 that you got 2 test jokes.
Oh yeah. There's jokes that I know and I'll put them at certain points in my act to gauge the audience's intelligence and to see if they're good with a joke.
Glad that you didn't do that to start this interview.
I never, but there's jokes that every comedian's got them to kind of see what kind of show it's going to be.
Yeah. And
if you don't know already, and if you don't get a laugh on this one particular thing, you're like, fuck, because then it's like either they're dumb or they want to, and I'm good with adjusting, but then it usually winds up being like, okay, I'm really going to have to work tonight.
How often does that happen?
Not that often. Audiences are pretty sharp.
Because it's the same joke and it's probably the same delivery.
Yep, same joke, same delivery. I mean, if I fuck it up, I totally admit it. You know what I mean? I like, I'm never one of those guys who's like, oh, that fucking, whatever. It's like, no, it's me. No, I blew this one. But yeah, I can tell immediately. And then it's either like one of the two things, like they're not paying attention or they're just dumb as fuck. So.
I guess it would be odd to accumulate an audience like that just randomly.
Yeah.
Maybe, where you're located. Maybe
that's what I mean. No, exactly. It is. It's the town or sometimes too is, it can be the club that you're performing in is not used to having a comedian of that kind of caliber or whatever. And again, I know now it sounds like I'm just boosting myself up. They're not used to having. Down, huh? You should. I've got to be stopped. But it is like that. It's totally true. Like some clubs or whatever, they book a certain amount of comedians. There's a club owner in New Jersey who just got interviewed, and I'm gonna tear the shit out of that video apart because he's a terrible human being, right? And but he said something that was just hilarious, not on purpose. He said, "Smart comics don't do well in this room," and I thought that was fucking hilarious because the guy he's being interviewed by is a good friend of mine. Used to be a teacher, brilliant guy, brilliant comic. But what this moron Booker did was just basically insult every comic that's talked. Like, hey, only retards work my club. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. He's got that, New York vibe. But what he doesn't realize is you control that. Like, it's not that smart comics don't work in your room. It's that you just keep booking dumb acts. If that's your thing, you control what kind of an audience you bring to your club. You control, if you get, a comedians who are constantly doing racist material or constantly doing, riling up the thing or whatever. They don't have a real act or whatever. Those are the kind of audiences that are going to come back because they're going to tell their friends that you can drink heavily and shout at them and do all this shit. But if you book good talent, and then that's the kind of audience you're going to get in there too. So it goes hand in hand. It's not like they just show up.
Yeah, and if you put the wrong comedian in front of that audience, good comedian, well, he's going to bomb because not doing what they want.
Exactly.
I went to a Gallagher show.
I'm sorry.
In Vegas one time.
Right.
And Gallagher's big name. So you got to go.
No, of course. Yeah, you got to see him.
Yeah, it was an NAB convention, National Association of Broadcasters. Everybody in the audience worked in broadcasting somewhere. Mm-hmm. So we were all jaded.
How long ago was this?
Oh, it was back in the 80s.
Oh, dude. Okay. A Gallagher I thought you meant now. I was like, Gallagher in the 80s.
Is he still alive?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, so yeah, I haven't heard from him in a long time.
Right. Do you guys talk?
Not after that show. He won't call me anymore. He doesn't answer my calls. I sat in the front. I got the thing that they sell you to keep from getting hit by the watermelon.
The raincoat.
Raincoat thing, yeah. And really looking forward to it. And this audience is all broadcasters. They're all jaded. We know all the stars.
Nice.
They are dead.
Wow.
And so Gallagher's up there and he's sweating and he's doing his best. And it's like, I just told you two of my best jokes and you are dead.
Wow.
Right to the audience. So I'm going to smash the watermelon now and I'm going to get out of here.
That's hilarious. And did he left his show early?
I don't know if it was early or he has the watermelon toward the end.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's cool too. I always have major props for comedians. There's nothing to me a comedian can ever do. Like if I hear a comedian walked off in the middle of their set, I'm always like, oh, what did the audience do? You know what I mean? Like I'm not a big the show must go on guy. Like I'm pretty much always in favor of whatever the comic wants to do. So like if he had left in the middle of his I think Chappelle did that at one point too. The audience was just being fucking rude as shit. And he was like, man, I'm done. I don't need this shit. Which I mean, he's got millions of dollars, so he can totally do that as opposed to me at this point. But I would do that.
The reason I did this humor impaired in my name here,
right, is
if I come to the show tonight, and I'm going to try to, I'm going to hide in the back where it's dark. You're getting good reaction from me,
right?
I'm laughing at some things,
yeah,
smiling, things like that.
Yeah,
and it's all genuine. I'm not making it up. I'm not that good an actor.
Oh, appreciate it.
But when I'm sitting in the audience for a comedian, I can be enjoying the hell out of the show.
And
I'm like,
I got you.
Yeah, I had a co-host on the show for a while, and she got busy doing other stuff, and she's was a part-time comedian on the circuit for a while.
Cool.
And she decided that she had to make a decision. I'm going to make this a job,
right, or
leave it behind.
Okay.
Sort of, she had to make that choice, and she decided to leave it behind. and I told her that, if I'm in the audience for the show, I can be enjoying it, but it's like, she said, do not let me see you.
Yeah. Comedians will always fixate on the one person who's just kind of what they're on. The whole audience could be dying, and there's just this one dude. And you're like, I gotta get.
You gotta get him.
What the fuck is this guy's problem? And it's always a dude. It's never like there's very rarely is it a woman that's not having a good time because usually the woman brings out her husband or somebody that doesn't want to go see another male up on stage making their wife laugh or girlfriend laugh at the time. Wives usually don't matter because it's they're 45 years in and wish they were dead. But I mean that's how marriage I think usually goes. But if it's a girlfriend, they're always like, oh my god, I don't want to fucking deal with this shit. And then it's whatever. But it's fun to pick on those people. Okay,
so I'll stay way in the back.
You stay way in the back. Listen, I told you might be the only one there. So if that's the case, we'll all go out to eat. We'll take a couple people who I know said they were going to come. The girl from the college and maybe the reporter that was here, and then you will all get together and go out for some snacks.
Yeah, I'll see if my wife will come. I mean, she should.
Okay. Is she going to sit in the front and you're going to sit in the back?
I could be.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. because she'll react.
Great.
She'll be good. And we'll see how good you are.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah. I don't go to that many live shows, but I do watch the Netflix specials with comedians.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm sitting there and I'm watching them typically by myself. My wife doesn't like to watch those Netflix specials.
Okay.
And I'm rolling with laughter.
Oh, good.
Inside.
Oh, inside. All right.
Yeah. It may be an audience, participatory thing.
Yeah. They say that people won't laugh on their own by themselves. I read that a long time ago, and I find it, or that if there was some kind of psychological thing that they said that if you're watching a comedy or like a comedy special or whatever, people, if they're by themselves, won't laugh. It's like a group thing. But I will laugh on my own, so I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me.
I do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. Not a lot, but I do some, and something can hit me, and I can't stop.
Who's your favorite comic? Better say me. No, who is it?
I've never heard of you before.
Yeah, no,
the publicist called me.
Me neither. But who's your favorite?
Gosh.
If you old or new, it doesn't even matter.
Nobody's instantly coming to mind because I don't do well on quizzes like that.
Oh, all right. All right. So you've never been interviewed before.
Who's your hero?
We're going to turn the tables right now. Yeah. Who's your hero is always, I fucking hate that question. I'm like, oh God, I don't know. I'm not 5. I don't have Spider-Man. It's my hero. Yeah, I know that. I know what you mean. That's always weird. What did you do before this?
Television engineer.
That's cool. So you know what you're doing. This is why you have all this equipment.
Yeah, that's why there's all this.
This is a beautiful camera, by the way. I'm going to ask you questions about that as soon as we're done. But,
I'll show the audience the camera.
Oh, yeah. That's really nice. And you got a Rode mic and everything too. Rhodes, I think it's called.
Yeah, Rode.
Yeah.
Or Rode or something.
Rode, yeah, Rode, yeah. Something like
that. No,
cool.
but that mic that you're looking at there,
this
that's
one.
On top?
Yeah. Isn't that a Rode mic?
I have no idea.
Fair enough. But yeah, I'm always looking for new cameras and shit because I like to tape my sets.
Yeah, this stuff is old. I got all this stuff to do some DVD.
This is all stolen equipment, isn't it? Yeah. I'm saying, you're like, why did I show that camera?
Yes, it is.
NBC is going to be calling.
Yeah, I did some DVD documentary type things.
Oh, cool.
For a while, and then stopped doing that. And what I'm going to do with these cameras? They're not worth anything anymore.
Wow, but that's great, man.
I'll do a podcast. I'll do an audio podcast.
It was either this or porn, and I think you made the right choice. Yeah, you got enough cameers
Look
for
at
a
his
good
body. People don't want to see 69-year-olds do porn.
Yeah, and please don't take this the wrong way. You know who you remind me of at least a little bit when I saw it when I came in? The dad from Alf. Do you remember him? I can't think of his name, but yeah, it's a very close resemblance, and I love that show. So it's not an insult whatsoever. Okay. Yeah, it's a good. But you guys kind of have the same demeanor. So if you want to rewatch Alf,
I'll have to go watch some Alfs and see if I've been insulted or complimented.
Complimented. It's a full-on compliment.
All right.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
So we last left you after your mom dropped you on the head.
Right. Yeah, that was a good. Yeah.
Go back around.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and then the evolution of that. I had. Were you talking about? You want me to go through step by step?
Well, you were a funny kid.
Yep.
More than once every 20 minutes.
Right. Had to be.
And people said you should go on the stage, and you were at college and you were not enjoying it.
Yeah.
What was your next step? Did you go into business? Did you go get a real job?
No, I was still working. I don't know what I was doing when I was in college though, but I was still working a little bit, maybe a part-time job. Maybe that's all kind of a blur. And I was dating somebody who went to another school and trying to make that work. And it was a real kind of like, there was this little gestation period where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and everyone else was doing their college thing. And then I broke up with the girl I was dating. She cheated on me. So let's just get that out. But that's what happened there. And then everything after that kind of fell apart. So I was just kind of like, and not because of but I mean, fell apart, but then came together because I think
everything in your life, your whole life.
Yeah, not my whole. I mean, it was just kind of like a moment of clarity where I was like, okay, I don't have to pretend to be this other guy anymore. You know what I mean? Because she went off to college. Her parents expected, big things. They didn't particularly like that she was dating me at the time either. I think her mother used to refer to me as the current boyfriend. And I was like, thanks, that'll be me. I'm just stepping in for a little bit, pitch hitting. And then after that happened, I was like, well, I hate going to college. I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? I thought that was the right thing to do. You both go to college, you both get some dumb degree, marriage, da-da-da-da. And then I was kind of fighting against that in my own nature, but that was what you did. That's what all my friends did. That only one of them left high school and started performing, and then moved to LA. And it was funny because in the yearbook that we had, she wrote to me, she was like, you want to do comedy, just work for a little bit this summer, stop, come out to LA, we'll do this, we'll do this shit together. And I was like, no, I can't do that. And then within like
not enough confidence in yourself.
No, not at the time. Because I in high school you were made to believe if you didn't go to college, you were going to be pumping gas for the rest of your life or living in a box out on the street. Like that was it. That's what I actually thought, because there was a bunch of people that were like, this is obviously the right. And it's funny too, because neither of my parents, they're both successful and they never went to college. So I don't know where I got the idea that I had to go, but no one had ever suggested anything otherwise. No one had, a couple teachers senior year who I still keep in touch with, my English teachers, were kind of, they're not trying to persuade, but they were like, you don't have to go. But it always seemed in my head when people said college is for everyone, it usually meant like you're dumb. And college, it wasn't like a beneficial thing. It was like college isn't for everyone, man. You could, why don't you just, make
become a mechanic or
or
plumber.
just work at the Carvel in town and gain weight and never leave. You know what I mean? That's what I kept hearing. So, in spite of all that, I gave it a shot and then hated it, and that was great. So that was awesome. That happened. I saw this
to make you more comfortable. I dropped out.
You did? Oh, great.
I got through junior year, got a real job.
Wow. Okay. Junior year, but you made it to junior year. I made it half a freshman year.
Okay.
I was like, and we're done.
Yeah.
Which is great, because I wasn't really doing the work either. I was just taking the tests, and they were like, oh, you're doing well in the tests, but you're not handing the homework. And I was like, well, what is the fucking point? Like, I didn't understand.
That was me in high school.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't understand it at that point too. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around the idea that I'm paying this, I mean, not even me, like my parents would be, but you're paying this unbelievably fucking crazy amount of money. And I was trying to also work part-time to help pay, whatever it is, to have people I don't know, probably wouldn't respect out on the street in general if I met them in person anyway, telling me when to show up, when I can, Like if I came in late, they'd still chastise you. And I can't wrap my head around the idea that I'm paying the money to be here. So, let me do what I need to do.
In high school, discipline. In college, it should be all you.
It should be. Absolutely. It should be, I should show up to this thing or whatever, and then that's the end of it.
I understand there's no discipline in high school anymore either.
No, I know. Yeah, there really isn't. But in high school, you should be too scared shitless to do anything else. You know what I mean? Like that was, you had to, you should be scared of your parents and you should be scared of, the teachers of reprimanding you or whatever. I had that burnt out of my brain and towards high school too, so I wasn't really scared of anybody. But the college thing was just absurd to me. And then constantly writing papers, because my thing is I wrote this thing, and then if I got a good grade on it, they wanted me to do it again but longer. Why? You already know I can fucking write.
You have a gift.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was like, oh, you already know I can write. And then it just doesn't fucking make sense. And then I had my friends who were that kind of way. Like if they went to a bigger school, my one friend had like, I don't know, there was this one class where there was 100 and something people in it. He never went, and nobody noticed that he wasn't there. And he just kind of handed in the work whenever it was and did well on the test and then fucking passed. And then he got a degree, and that was it. He was barely in any of those classes. So I was like, that's the if I had to choose a college experience, that'd be the one. He had this awesome house that he had. He had bands play there, really good bands who came up and did amazing shit afterward. But that was a great experience. But I still couldn't understand you're paying money for this. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I thought 10 years doing stand-up, what I really love, if I could, I had confidence in myself at that point to go, I could get good at this and then work in the meantime.
Now, had you done like open mic nights or things like that?
That's what I wound up doing. I had to do, so there was a class that Caroline's offered on Broadway. And that's what I found first, which is hilarious because I'm so anti-fucking school. I went and took a goddamn class because that's how indoctrinated you are into this thing of believing that I have to have somebody else directing me and giving me.
You were living in New York.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't living in New York. I was still living in Jersey.
Well, New York adjacent.
Oh, New York adjacent. Yeah,
close enough that you could get there.
Yeah, close enough I can get there. It wasn't that long of a trip. So, I would go into this class, and it was a class of 30. I'm the only one still doing stand up. And because another thing about that too is those classes are designed for like business people to go in and kind of boost their self-esteem or like maybe be better at presenting stuff. And then there's a few who just want to do stand-up. And I was 20. So I really wanted to fucking do stand-up. And I think the woman who I'm still in touch with her, Linda Smith is her name, and she was a big fan of mine at that point. And I was, she had written for TV for years and been on the road. So she was
right into the camera, say hi.
Hi, Linda. I don't even know where the camera.
Oh, there.
Oh, is there? Hey, Linda, what's up? So
You're good at taking directions.
thank you. Yeah, I know. I was like, what? Oh, okay. Where's my camera? Yeah, she was great, and I did this class, and I wound up just grabbing. I had 5 minutes of material. And I've been writing all along, by the way. So I had this book that I'd keep, and I had material in there. And I kind of figured out what to do. And I've been watching stand-ups my whole life. So that first show that I did was amazing. It was great. It was a great show. I had a great set. Totally set me off on the wrong foot because I thought every show was going to be fucking amazing. And then I steadily bombed and figured it out, as I was going along. But yeah, that's what I did first. And then I just did open mics and bringer shows, which I didn't do very often. They're horrible. And you have to bring like 5 or 6 people to get stage time, and after a while you run out of friends. So
I've never heard of that concept, I guess.
It's a terrible business platform that they use to just make money off of people who want to be comedians.
Okay, so it's in order for you to get time, you got to bring somebody else who's going to also do an act.
No.
Oh,
You have to bring an audience member who's going to
okay.
drink and eat, and that's it. And it gets the club money, and you don't get to develop as a comedian because you're the pressure of bringing 6 people out of your friends to do well, and then trying to, like, the whole point of doing open mics and shit like that, or beginning shows, is to test out material. But you're not really testing it out if you're trying to do a show for a bunch of people that are paying to see you $20, $25 to come into the city, oftentimes driving them in yourself. And then if you bomb, you're there with them home. You know what I mean? It's a fucked up way to do it. But I think it's on its way out because there's so many, good shows and stuff like that.
Does it affect you to have people in the audience?
It did.
Back early.
Yeah. Early on it did because it sucks to... the show, every comedian remembers bombs. I remember bombing in front of people I knew. And those are the ones that still stay with me. I've bombed, in front of strangers. That's no problem. I've had weird shows, whatever. But it's way harder when a group of people are like, hey, we're going to come see you tonight. And you have to see them every day afterward because they think that's what you do now. Like, I've got all this press, I've got all this stuff, yada, yada. And then one bad night, and it's like my friends from high school bring their parents who haven't seen me in 10 years. And let's just say I eat a dick on stage. You know what I mean? It just sucks. And then you're like, fuck. Those shows I remember. It doesn't happen often anymore, like at all really anymore. But that in the beginning, oh yeah, man. I remember bombing so bad in my hometown that I was like, fuck, man, like this is... But I had a bunch of shows after that.
What's the hometown?
Toms River, New Jersey.
Okay, so that's not right in New York.
No, it's an hour away. Yeah, but it's like right by the Parkway and stuff. But yeah,
what exit?
82. There you go. See?
I understand people don't really say
Joe
that.
Piscopo. No,
It's
just
not,
Joe Piscopo.
It's not a thing.
You can say it to me. It's fine. It's not a... No one really says... Well, I get people do say it in New Jersey, like a little bit. They're like, oh, what exit is that? But I don't think anybody knows.
It's off the Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah.
That's the only
Parkway,
road.
Not Turnpike, Parkway.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, how
I've been
dare
on it.
you? I believe you. But I don't think anybody knows it's Piscopo that started it.
Starting in Wilmington, cross over the big bridge.
Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, so that was it. And I started doing the stand-up, and I had a job at a bank. That's where the briefcase thing comes from. So I worked at a bank full-time after I dropped out, and then did stand-up on the weekends.
What did you do at the bank?
Oh, God. I was my
Inquiring
title,
minds want to know.
I'll tell you, man, my title was financial consultant, but it was bullshit.
Vice president.
Yeah, vice president of the bank. I don't know how I got that job, but I went to a training session, and they were like, you know what? We're going to trust you with the money. I'm like, what?
With other people's money.
We were the first part of the in-store branch. So I don't know if you know what that is, but it was the first time that there was a bank inside of a grocery store, which is a bad fucking idea, by the way, because people don't have money that are shopping with food stamps. You know what I mean? Like it was a town. It was in a Stop and Shop. I don't know if you have those out here, but
we do not have those here. I've heard of them.
Okay,
we've got Harris Teeter.
Oh, that's right.
My wife does not want me to call the Harry Teeter. Don't know why.
Yeah, that's a problem. What a fucked up name for a grocery store.
We had Kroger for a while and they left.
Oh, okay. I know Kroger personally. But they've got... So, yeah, we had the Stop and Shops when I was a PNC bank inside of there. And I went to the training meetings and stuff, and they loved me because I always said I did stand-up. And I either drew immediately and established that whatever job I had, I established that I didn't belong there. Okay, which is probably...
You drew this.
I drew that, yeah. I drew that a little while ago. But yeah, it was... I can draw cartoons. I can draw characters and stuff. And so I I did. I immediately established that I don't belong here. Like, I don't know why, but I had an attitude of, this is not going to be my life forever, but I'll stay here while I can. And they really latched on to my, talking conversationally and personality, because they thought, this guy's going to get fucking sales. And I was, in my head, I was like, I hate that.
Did that work? I mean,
no.
Did you deal well with customers and make them happy and stuff?
Dealt well with customers, but never made quota. Because I don't want, like, it was
didn't leech money out of them.
No, because it was odd to me that I didn't understand it. I wanted to work at a bank because, you're a teller. I figured that was it. I can count money. I'm not, a moron or whatever. And I figured it was a quiet job or whatever. And of course, as I came into it, I fit the description of a guy who could work and sell products. And why would you fucking have a bank that had a quota? Like, we had to get 9 checking accounts a month, 2 savings accounts, 1 money market account, and 1 loan. That was our quota for the month. And they would occasionally increase it. So 9 checking accounts, like in a small town where people don't have that much money. So what wound up happening was I think PNC was, it was Wells Fargo, but I also think PNC was responsible for the financial collapse, because we had people who wanted to keep their jobs. So they would, force these customers into a loan, not a great deal. We'll give you this much money for a house, when they couldn't fucking afford to have it. So they'd make quota, because you got bonuses when you did a loan. So I'm watching all this happen. Like, this is just nuts. And I kept that job for, I think, maybe 2-3 years, something like that. Maybe 2 years, because they liked me there. My branch liked me. And this one woman,
even though you weren't making quota.
Yeah, they didn't care. I mean, I was technically bringing the branch numbers down, but they would also fake, like, so we would open up fake accounts, checking accounts. So
that's what got Wells Fargo in trouble.
Yeah, the quotas for the checking accounts were always fake. Yeah.
I need to talk a little bit so that you can drink some water.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not holding up my end here.
No, you're fine. I keep going on and on about the bank, but.
Oh yeah, we got to watch time a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I'm good for 2-hour interviews.
Great.
Well known for that. Cool. Well, I'm not known by anybody, but I'm known by myself
for 2 hours
for doing that.
You can tell me you're known by anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I am.
I do 2-hour interviews, and it's easy. But you got to be gone by. How far away do you got to go?
Not far. It doesn't even really matter. I'll stay here to whenever you want me to leave. I'll leave.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to check in at a place, but it doesn't matter.
Come back to that microphone.
Oh, sure. Sorry about that. I don't know. I got really, I'm like, anyway.
A lot of people do that.
Do they?
That's why I like when you're wearing the headphones. You can tell, wait a minute, I can't hear myself anymore.
Right, yeah, exactly. I noticed it. I'm so loud that I can always hear me. So I'm like, am I shouting?
There's your volume controls over there.
Oh, cool. No, it's fine.
So you're working at the bank. You're doing the open mics and stuff at night.
By that point, I started doing real shows pretty quickly. So I started off doing, like open mics, free shit in the city a little bit. But then I wanted to MC, so MCs got paid. That's why I wanted to MC. So I quickly got to MC shows because I was just good.
How do you convince the owner to let you do that?
Well,
because it can't be like you're the only one who wants to.
I know, man. That's a good question. I'm very persuasive. I don't know how I.
But did they pick the best comic?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, not always. MCing, it's
a different skill.
It's a hit or miss kind of thing. Mostly the MC, is not going to be that great. But the thing is that I was good when I started young. So having me MC was almost beneficial to balance out a great show because I was energetic, I had material, and I liked to talk to the audience. So they almost to a point where they refused to move me up because they knew they could, 1, pay me less, and 3, I was local and I'd make a great, it would be a good show. You have the MC doing great because most of the time an MC's awkward and they're just getting their footing or they're not doing well, but you have to have somebody do it. But then I came in and I was just like, hey, what's going on? How's your I would kind of like dick around with the audience more because I like to improvise.
Now, as the MC, you get to do a bit of a set. Did you get to do a better set because you were good at it and an MC?
As an MC? Yeah, I got to then, I did introduction, how's everybody doing, blah, blah, blah. And then I would go into my set. And the more material I wound up gaining, the less crowd work I would do in the beginning. And then I got to interweave it in between what I was doing. So in the beginning, it was more like, everybody has to go, how are you doing? Anybody celebrating anything? What are we doing? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, give it up for this. Hey, don't forget to tip your wait staff. Hey, there's this, and this. And then, how we got a birthday in the audience, that kind of stuff. But then as you're learning to do stand up, you're learning to be able to go, hey, we got a birthday in the audience. Oh, birthday material, story about something that happened, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So you get to work in material as you're doing the crowd work.
Now, did the class you took teach you how to do that, or
no? The class I took was only to get 5 minutes of material. It wasn't about hosting. There was a second level class I think you could take, and probably other ones that were trying to bleed money out of you. But I didn't do any of that.
Okay, so but it gave you the background of how to put your act together.
Totally. Yeah, that was the best thing I learned from that class was because I'd already had written jokes. I already knew what a joke sounded like, and the best part was she was really great, especially working with me, of going, you're this type of comic. She would tell me, one of the things in the beginning was she would call it the meat and potatoes, where she would say, you got the crux of what the joke is going to be and what the punchline is. And she's like, but what you're going to always wind up doing is, and she's absolutely right for the most part, especially when I was starting, was finding your way to that, because I like to talk. So every time I did that, I didn't really stick to, because there's some comics that have a script almost, and they're very religious about not deviating from it. I think I'll tell a joke a different way each time, except the punchline and will be the same. They're
like people who can, like newsreaders and stuff, who can read something,
right,
but sound like they're just talking to you.
Yeah.
But you don't do that.
No.
You're
I'm actually talking to you. and that makes it fun for me. Yeah. It's all about me.
Can we ruin comedy for the audience? Can you explain how you put together jokes?
Yeah, I don't know if it's good. Yeah.
Well, I learned. I was out visiting a producer friend of mine who produces Last Man Standing.
Oh, nice.
And did a long interview with him, and he says on the sitcoms, it's a line, a laugh.
Yep.
A line, a laugh. And now when I'm watching sitcoms, it's like, wait, they did 3 lines before the laugh.
So it is usually, so comedy, they always say comedy comes in threes. So it's usually, I mean, sitcoms, he's right about a line, a laugh, or sometimes whatever the 3 lines is. But then the punchline is always a list of 3 stuff. You don't go beyond 3 usually of whatever the punchline is. It's ba-da-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da. And that's it.
Okay. So there's a beat, there's a rhythm to it.
Of course. Yeah.
And I don't know, have we spoiled it for the audience now?
No, I don't think so.
Are they going to be counting?
Man, they might. It's good. And they should be aware of that too, because then you can pick out shitty comedy from good comedy. You know what I mean? There's now
you'll know why you didn't like somebody.
But here's the thing though too. There's people who are really good. There's comics that are really good at picking up the rhythm with no material. And you can see it, because if that's all the audience has seen, they can trick the audience into thinking that they have the personality, the timing, and whatever it is, to do the set. And then you're just like, and comics can tell immediately, like, oh, that guy's figured out the pattern, but he's got crap material and no personality.
So you need both. You need,
sure.
Well, I mean, can really good material break the rules?
Sure, absolutely. You got a really good, well, there's comics who are way better writers than they are performers, but the material can save them most of the time on stage. Yeah. But that's still great.
Can you break rules?
Can I break rules? Yeah. Like what?
Well, I don't know. When you're doing your act, are you aware of saying, and now I am deviating from course?
Oh, I don't do any of that. No, I don't. Well, I don't ever like.
In your head.
Oh, in my head. Yeah, I deviate from the course a lot. I'm very self-referential when I'm on stage too. So I like to also point out if something in my head isn't working, or even if I'm talking to the audience or whatever. That's the little moments I like to stay in, because the audience can feel when there's a shift. And I very much like to go, no, I noticed the shift. I'm fully aware of what's going on. You know what I mean? It's like, when you're a pilot and you hit if you hit something or whatever, if the plane drops 100 feet, you kind of have to be like, hey guys, we just dropped 100 feet. And,
nothing to worry about.
Yeah, nothing. It was a bit of an air pocket, and we're going to be okay. Otherwise, if I don't acknowledge it, then it's, then they're like, is he okay? But that's what I like to do.
Okay, so you're not rigid.
No, not by any means.
I saw a weird special on Netflix that when it gets obvious enough that I'm paying attention to it, it is something really, really different. It's a woman comedian. She did 30, 45 minute act that was really funny and really great.
Who was it?
I don't remember her name.
Okay.
And then she started talking about trouble in her life.
It's Hannah Gadsby.
That could be.
Short hair, glasses.
I think so. It was a while ago.
And she's got an accent.
Yeah. And I mean, just all the energy way down, but still fascinating. And then right back up,
Yeah.
and then crashed again and closed
then,
the act.
Yeah, and then she cried.
Okay, so you know.
I've watched it because it was one of those things that people were talking about so much, and there was
Okay,
a lot
so
of
this is a
conflict
thing
surrounding
in
it.
comedy.
Yeah, there's a lot of conflict surrounding it because she said she was going to quit comedy. She started crying on stage, and
Weird, I thought.
it was weird.
But it was effective. I mean, I enjoyed watching the show.
It's a good show. So here's what there's some people who will say comedy's evolving or whatever the deal is, and it's always such fucking bullshit.
Comic pages have.
Comic pages have, yeah, absolutely. But they're more online now, right? You're talking about the newspaper comics?
Yeah, the newspapers. I mean, I still read them as part of the newspaper, but I mean, they're not just, they're not all Far Side.
Oh, I know. Oh, totally. Yeah, they're not going to be.
They're not all
Single
Family
panel?
Circus.
Oh yeah, Family Circus. That's a garbage strip.
Yeah, I mean they've gotten dark.
They have totally. But like so
Hannah
to me
show.
that was more of a one woman show or performance art or whatever the deal was, because I don't it had some jokes sprinkled into it, almost like a TED Talk would, and it gave us information about her life, which is absolutely fine. That's her own prerogative. That's what she wants to do with it. But I don't to me it was like fucking. If you
it was depressing.
Nobody ever saw Schindler's List. If you never saw Blazing Saddles and then you switched it up and accidentally showed them Schindler's List, and you're like, no, this is a comedy though. You're like, what? I don't get this at all. It's really making me feel sad. But now it's a stand-up special.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be funny.
Okay, I'm not sure if I was going anywhere with that or not. Just other than it was
fair enough.
Weird thing to see.
Yeah.
The point where you left the bank and this was going to be your income. Mm-hmm. Don't know how good it's been,
Oh, okay. When I left the bank, I
don't know how fantastically rich you've become.
Yeah, when I left the bank, I got a part-time job. It went full-time job, part-time job, and then summer job, and then no job, and then just stand-up.
Comedy was
comedy.
The job.
Well, yeah, comedy. So yeah, then the comedy.
It is now your full-time job.
Yes.
And you're on the circuit nationwide.
Yeah. And I was writing for
oh, that's
a while.
right. You've written for some shows.
Yeah, for about 3 years, I did a lot more writing than I did stand-up, which I didn't. I like doing stand-up more than I like writing for varied shows and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but that was another gear switch, because when the writing stuff came, that became money. What I did for money and stuff.
Yeah. One of the show that I did with the producer for Last Man Standing, we talked a lot about writers, and that's invisible place to the audience. Mm-hmm. Your name's on the credits somewhere at the end, but you are the show.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And it's it's a collaborative. It's a fun thing. It's a collaborative thing. I didn't write for sitcoms. I wrote for. I have written collaboratively with people, and that's way more fun than what the thing I mostly did which was get a packet in the mail and go over the A block, the D block, the B blocks, whatever. Everything got mixed up every now and again or whatever, and then you wrote jokes, pages of jokes for that kind of shit to air, and then sometimes the turnover would have to be
for what kind of show?
For talk shows, political shows, newsroom shows, anything that was a comedian that was on the show or the segment involved some kind of game thing or whatever. It was me and a couple other people, also just kind of writing that stuff, but in your own home. So there was that was my first foray into like the VH1 shows, I love the 80s, 90s or whatever. My first one was I love the 90s R&B, and I got a 45-page packet in an email, printed it out, and it was each thing they were going over. So it was like I had to watch this music video, that music video, write jokes about this, write jokes about the people in it, whatever was going on that day, and research all this shit.
That is a totally invisible job.
Absolutely, 100%. You're just, and it's fun because it's, but you're in the beginning especially, it's fun because you're just writing in a room for comedians or whatever, and then you get to watch them deliver your jokes, which is really cool at the time. And then I still have my first check from that. I cashed it, but make no mistake.
Yeah. Most of the writers doing something like that couldn't perform, don't want to perform, don't know how to perform.
Most, I think
or they all really want to, they just haven't got it together yet.
If they want to, I think they do it. And there's a lot of writers who come from comedy, stand-up backgrounds, or sketch, stand-up, improv. Most of the people in that room have done some form of it at some point. I think if you really want to do stand-up, you do stand-up. And then I think there's some people who are better writers, or they're doing stand-up or whatever, but they're not out on the road getting paid for it or whatever, and then they wind up falling into a great writing job. and then you still see them pursue stand-up. There's a bunch of writers that I know in LA that are just, writing or whatever, and then they're getting on stage. They're not getting paid necessarily, but their main focus is their writing, and then they're doing stuff stand-up. Okay. And mine was kind of switched. Mine was stand-up first, heavily, and then 3 years of writing for other people, and then.
But you'd rather perform your own stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like in my business, knowing all this stuff and being the button pusher behind it, most of the folks that are doing that, they don't want to perform.
Oh, okay.
You can tell I wanted to perform.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You wanted to be behind the camera.
I couldn't do what you do, but I can do this.
Yeah.
I think I can do this.
And you should be, and you are, and that's great.
Yeah.
I don't know any of this shit. I mean, I can't. I love all the buttons and stuff, and I wish I was better at it. I don't know. This is.
You're supposed to be running that thing. Didn't I tell
really?
You
Oh, no, you didn't tell me at all. I'll press some shit. I don't know what to do.
Like, oh yeah, I got a shot that shows those. There's no cameraman here, so I can't change the shots.
Which one delivers the food?
Whatever you do, don't press the red button.
Orders me a coffee. Yeah.
Don't press the red button. All right.
I can't stop staring at it. Like, what the fuck is all that?
So, when you're finally out on your own, did you build up enough confidence to say, yeah, I can do this?
Oh, yeah.
And where are you in the imposter syndrome?
Oh.
Totally?
Yeah.
None at all?
All of it, full in. Yeah, there's a couple. I remember feeling like that somewhere in the middle even too, where I was just like, what are you fucking, like, I can't, like, especially if nights didn't go well. Sometimes you have like 4 in a row that you're just sucking, and I'm like, I'm a fucking fraud.
And it's the same material.
Yeah, same material, whatever, and it just doesn't work for some reason.
You think you performed it well.
But here's the thing about that, is you never go, oh, okay, I did 50 shows, and they killed, and then you go, those were fake, that was a fluke, and these 4 are who you are. Yeah. Same. I'm assuming it's the same way how depression works. I get depressed, and you just kind of like, oh, okay, my whole life, even though it's been people liking or whatever thing one way, that week you just feel completely alone is when you're like, no, this is probably who I really am.
Yeah, I'm not going to remember this show. This show is I'm having fun here.
Yeah.
This. Now I'll remember the one I did solo that I just sucked at.
Right, exactly. Those are the ones that stick where you're like, wow, that's fucking awful. Yeah. But there's a bit of that, even when you're on stage and stuff too, where you're like, well, I think people also think every comedian lives a certain kind of life and shit like that too, where I think when they meet me outside of that, they're slightly disappointed. I know my doctors are. Every time I go to the doctor and I'm not feeling well, they're like, you doing a lot of drugs? I'm like, no. And they're like, it says you're a comedian though, aren't you? You do a little bit of cocaine. I'm like, no, not at all. Never touched the stuff. And they're like, okay. I always feel like, I'm like, God, I think my doc wants me to do more drugs. What the fuck's going on? Yeah. They're like, yeah, they're drinking every night, you partying every night and doing the thing. And I'm like, I usually kind of do my show and then go home. I drink socially and stuff like that. And I always wind up being like, I know I'm really fucking boring. I'm sorry.
So do you like being on the road?
I love being on the road. I love hotels. I love traveling. I like being in my car. I like listening to music when I'm in my car, whether I'm by myself or with somebody else. I love it. And I want to do it because I'm always with older comedians sometimes, I said always and sometimes in the same sentence, I'm aware. I'm always with older comedians, and then sometimes they tell me that I'm going to fucking hate the road. But I love it so much now. That's why I'm always talking to my manager, and I'm like, can you just book me? I don't care where the fuck we're going. Just I want to get it all in now before I hit the age where apparently I won't want to travel anymore. I don't know. So
is it you're doing a Thursday night in Chapel Hill?
Yeah.
Tonight. But not the weekend? You got a weekend gig?
I don't. And I can't talk about it. But the current reason why is I got a really solid movie audition, and I'm going home Friday morning to prep, and then Monday's my audition. I didn't cancel a paid show. I was supposed to be stopping into a club, kind of like making myself known kind of thing, maybe auditioning to get into the club later because I still have to do that shit sometimes. But now I'm passing. So
I heard you say you can't talk about it.
Can't talk about it.
So what movie?
I can't talk about it. I really wish I could. It would be great, and it's going to be awesome, and especially if I wind up, I might get it, might not, or whatever.
What would you do in this movie?
Act.
So you got an acting background?
I took 9 months at Meisner. I took an acting class with Joanna Bexon. She was great, and really just.
I mean, I could see
really
that you
kept on me.
You could be in a movie where they needed a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, or a guy with hair
acting as a stand-up comedian in the movie.
Yeah,
but
Oh, you mean you also noticed I don't have range?
I'm getting the impression that it may not be it. That it may be real acting.
Oh, it might be real acting. Yeah, it's a comedy. I can tell you that.
Okay,
but it's real acting in the comedy.
All right, so
we'll see what happens.
You'd be a regular character person.
Yeah. I got the full script and everything.
So it could be that I am now in the presence of Hollywood celebrity.
Sure. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, maybe.
And and when you hit that, when now you're the next Iron Man or whatever, you'll remember this podcast from the studio
totally.
in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of
back.
Cary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll come. Well, we'll do it on Skype because he probably won't. Wow.
You're like, I don't want you to be in the room, but we'll do it on Skype.
If you would come back here to do that, that would be fine.
Yeah, no, I'll come back and visit you. As long as I can stay. I don't have to get an Airbnb this time.
Yep. All right. So I think we have approached the point where you got to get out of here.
Okay, great. See you. Peace. Yeah, you're right.
I'm having a good time. You're having a good time.
I'm having a great time. Yeah, this is awesome.
Do you like doing? You've been on. I caught you on a serious show from a couple of years ago, I guess. But
okay.
So I was doing my extensive research. You're on somebody's show, and not as the subject of the interview. You were
a panel. John Fugelsang's. Yeah. John's. I love.
Notice I keep all the names, right.
Yeah, right in the head. You're just
yours
like,
is written down here. I can remember it.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I knew that was more for you than for me. It's John Fugelsang is amazing, and it's crazy too because I've always been a fan of his, and now I get to be once a month on his show. So, he's taught me a lot, and it's been a lot of fun to do it.
And that you're not just telling jokes or telling your story.
We're talking about top politics. Where it's usually 4 comedians pretending they know what they're talking about, which is easy.
How much do you have to pay attention to the world?
How do you do that? It's current, and if and John is super smart, so he knows. Everything that's going on. Literally almost up to. It's his job to do it, obviously, but it's up to the fucking minute. So from when I get into the serious building to when we're sitting down, I'm still scrolling through the news, kind of rummaging through topics and stuff, but try to see it. But I'm always. But
you stay topical because it's going to be part of your act anyway.
And I think comedians have to stay topical. I think we have to. Personally, I like to know what's going on in the world, unfortunately, because it's depressing as hell. But I do like to know what's going on.
Just keep watching the end of the nightly news. They always have a heartwarming story.
Oh yeah, sure, exactly. They do the doomsday clock, don't they?
I don't think so.
No, they should. That'd be great.
Let's see. I've got some buttons to push. First of all,
there we go. I knew it was going to shuffle through.
Have you ever done a show where the guy who was doing the interview half of the show is also the technical director?
No, I've never. No, I'm probably. I just don't pay attention. See, I don't really pay too much attention, but now I can see everything that's going on. So it's pretty cool.
This is an old VH1 meme.
Okay.
Back in the very early days of VH1, they had these video jockeys guys.
Yeah.
It was a solo thing. They were just introducing music, and they actually did a parody of this, either on Saturday Night Live or maybe on Second City TV. I think it was Second City TV. A parody of a guy doing that. He had his switcher and his stuff, and he'd look. I'm going to fade the picture, and now here's a song. This is that.
Yes. Cool.
Very DIY.
I like it.
So you are John Poveromo.
Yes, I am.
At John Poveromo, POV for the audio audience, John POVEROMO.net. And this will be heard by people around the Triangle area.
Great.
When are you coming back? This is your first time in North Carolina.
I hope to come back soon. I hope to do more shows and stuff here. So as soon as, we'll give it like 5-6 months.
I'll have this up by like 5 o'clock. And if someone hears it right away.
Fantastic. And they
you're
will
on
come
at 8:30 at the Pit.
9:30.
9:30.
They can get there by 8:30. It's fine.
Yeah, at the Pit in Chapel Hill.
Pit in Chapel Hill, 9:30.
Okay. And there'll be no other audience, so you get a front row seat.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
That's the best part.
That's what you said.
I know it is what I said, and I stand by it. I'm hoping there is. I really do. I know they haven't done any promotion for it, but.
All right. I am Gary Pierce. I'm humor impaired, and it has been the episode 65, an entertainment episode. Has everybody been entertained?
I hope so.
I think so.
Oh, great. You think so, and I hope so.
Comedy tonight. I sign off the show with an old bad radio thing. You're going to understand exactly what your part is.
Oh, great. Okay.
It's 3 words. I'll do 2. You'll do the last one.
Okay.
Over and
out.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, it's great.
Bad radio procedure.
I was just possessed for a second.
Clicking the off button.